Whether you're on a long road trip or hoping to avoid arrest warrants or court appointments, sooner or later you're going to need to fuel up. Stretch those road-weary muscles and take a moment to reflect on why child support payments are unconstitutional. So to help you, because I'm such a benevolent guy, I will rank your choices from worst to best, based on my experiences out on the road, roaming this great land and pretending my kids don't exist, and making sure their mother does not see dime one of my hard-earned money. Do you hear that, Brenda? I will see you in hell. But anyway, here are the definitive gas station / truck stop power rankings. Number 10, 7-Eleven. This may confuse any of you who happen to live in Asia, where 7-Eleven is the place to go for surprisingly good, convenient food. But here in America, 7-Eleven is where you go to hopefully not get stabbed by a piss-soaked scab creature on angel dust, and maybe get a fossilized hot dog that was placed on that roller sometime during the Carter administration. 7-Eleven was an easy choice because, to put it simply, they are literally the worst at everything. The worst coffee, the worst food. They're usually situated between a rundown crack house and a nicer crack house. In fact, I think they're the only chain of convenience stores that sells roses. And if you don't know what I mean by roses, it's not the flower. It's a tiny decorative flower that comes inside a glass pipe, which people use to smoke drugs. It's basically a legal way to sell a crack pipe without calling it a crack pipe. Oh, and they also sell what has to be the single worst pizza in existence. It's this huge frozen pizza that only costs $5, and they'll even bake it for you fresh right in the store. And that doesn't sound like a bad deal until you take a bite of it and realize it is not just the worst pizza you've ever had, it might be the worst anything anywhere in existence that is technically considered food. And then you realize that the only people who would eat this pizza are people who are not only desperately poor, but consider food and sustenance less of a priority than being high. That's who 7-Eleven is for. 7-Eleven is like a commercial substance abuse center for people actively speed-running life, and not respectable people like you and I, and that's why they are ranked at the bottom. Number 9, Pilot. Coming in as being not as horrible as 7-Eleven is Pilot. Now, Pilot is one of those gas station chains where you're not sure if Pilot is the company that makes the gasoline, like Exxon, or the name of the store. But they are apparently a truck stop chain, and that is a testament to just how forgettable they are. Like, no one says, oh, thank God, there's a Pilot, because there's literally nothing that they are known for. So you typically go there because you're on the road and aren't feeling particularly discerning, and if you're lucky, the coffee was made sometime this year. And overall, the place looks kind of dingy and run down, maybe even dirty, and the floor is sticky over by the slushy machine that's not even working. And the bathrooms are usually approaching disaster zone territory, and the soap dispensers are empty. No one is happy to be there, especially the cashier, whose name is Audrey and looks like she could be my ex-wife's even more run-down older sister. And she looks at you like she wants to die, and you leave and forget this entire experience ever happened, including Pilot truck stops, which is why it's number 9. Number 8, Maverick. This will be a quick one because Maverick is basically a slightly cleaner version of Pilot and with way more advertisements all over the store to make you think it's this slick up-and-coming chain of convenience stores. But unlike the places that are higher on this list, they don't actually have anything unique or interesting enough to make this a destination travel stop. They've added something called the Bonfire Grill, but that's just their food brand, which doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, why would you try and build a separate brand from your brand if you're all one brand? Anyway, it's just gas station slop and it sucks. Still, points for being slightly cleaner than some of the other gas stations. Number 7, Circle K. Circle K is basically a slightly nicer version of 7-Eleven, though your results will vary. They were founded in El Paso, Texas, and they're currently owned by a Canadian company called Alimentation Couch-Tard, and that's very funny to me, even though it isn't particularly nice or politically correct. Thanks, Obama. Anyway, they've been around for nearly 75 years, and the only thing I can find that they are known for are their fountain sodas, which they call Polar Pop. So it's been nearly a century, and you aren't known for anything that you actually created. Sad, many such cases. Number 6, High's Dairy Store. This one will be lost on most of you, but High's Dairy Store is a chain of convenience stores that started in Baltimore, and what's funny about that is that despite living there and having family there, I've almost never thought of going into one because they are simply outclassed by just about every one of their competitors, even on their own turf. Being a dairy, their convenience stores are known for their ice cream, which is kind of stupid if you think about it, because that might be the last thing you want to eat while driving, except for maybe crabs or ribs or ass. They're what I call Schrodinger's gas station, because you could go to one and it looks nice and clean and not all that bad, or you could go to one and it looks like you're in Metro 2033 and are going to have to fight your way out. If you don't know what High's Dairy is, there's probably something similar in your area, like Turkey Hill or something. Who cares? Number 5, Sheetz. Now I'm going to start ruffling some feathers because I've heard many people swear up and down that Sheetz is some otherworldly chain, but I simply don't get the hype. Every time I go into a Sheetz, it has this vibe like everyone is super ecstatic to be there and knows just what to order but won't tell me. Like, oh look, they have these baked goods. Well, were they baked there? Well, no. And that's pretty much true of everything. Sandwiches, hot dogs, it's all gas station slop from an above-averagely clean store. But what really drove Sheetz down to number 5 was the fact that I once got the absolute worst cup of coffee I've ever had in my life there. Now, if you don't drink coffee, then congratulations for being a brain-dead Monster Energy drinking Zoomer, and I hope you enjoy your rat piss punch. But for us civilized folk, nothing beats a good cup of coffee. And the optimal cup of gas station coffee comes from a HODL that's made regularly by employees. Some gas stations have opted to modernize their coffee system using these machines that brew each cup fresh, like a large-scale K-cup. And most of the time, they're awful. And whatever Sheetz uses is easily the worst, most watered-down, piss-poor excuse for a cup of coffee I've ever had the displeasure of having. These machines are shit, and I can't take seriously anywhere that uses them. Number 4, Royal Farms. Full disclaimer, I managed a ROFO about 1,000 years ago, and it really saddens me to place them so low. But it needs to be done. For those unfamiliar, Royal Farms is an East Coast chain of gas stations founded in Baltimore that is mostly known for their pressure-cooked fried chicken. Now, because of its proclivity in and around Baltimore, Royal Farms is a spot where you can either have a totally normal experience or be shot in the face. Seriously, the one I managed was out on the highway and nothing ever happened there, while the one less than a mile away was robbed at least twice a month. Now, what's funny about ROFO is that when I got home from working there, I apparently smelled like used fryer oil. But I was so used to the smell that I didn't even notice. But what's not so funny about Royal Farms is that even if you don't work there, the place reeks of used fryer oil, and you will leave there smelling like it. Seriously, the last time I stopped at one, I was inside for no more than 2 minutes, got back in the car, and was told I smelled like a deep fryer. And yeah, okay, fine, they're deep frying chicken all day, every day. But it's not like when you walk into a Chick-fil-A or Popeyes, you are immediately punched in the face by that smell. That's unique to Royal Farms because while other gas station chains pride themselves on their cleanliness, Royal Farms apparently doesn't. Royal Farms has also apparently shifted to the automated machine that makes you a cup of coffee, which I already covered how much that sucks. Can you get some decent fried chicken from Royal Farms? Maybe, depending on when the last batch was dropped. But as an operation, they desperately need an overhaul if they want to rise any higher in a competitive market. Number 3, Love's. One of the large-scale truck stop heavy hitters enters the fight in Love's. It is a classic one-stop truck stop that has everything from power tools and cowboy hats to bathrooms and even cologne dispensing machines. On the one hand, they are typically very clean, keep the coffee area fresh and well-stocked, and you can usually almost always count on their tacos or breakfast tacos if you need a bite of something decent. But on the other hand, there isn't a ton of variety there, so if you don't like what's being kept warm, you're shit out of luck. Funny story that had nothing to do with Love's, but one time I stopped at one when we were moving and I went in, walked over to the Hardee's that was attached to it, and asked them if I could just get 1 or 2 chicken tenders for my cat. The cashier rang me up and then asked me what type of dipping sauce my cats wanted, and that's when I realized we desperately needed some type of test to prevent the mentally defective from voting. And that's why Love's has the number 3 spot. Number 2, Buc-ee's. Oh boy, I can hear the Buc-ee's Simpson internet crybabies just peeing in their diapers over this one. But you can't always get what you want, and if you're one of my kids, you basically never do. But Buc-ee's, the freakishly massive truck stop / recreational insane asylum, lands at number 2. For the simple reason that it is a little overrated and at times a downright disappointing place to be. Yes, they are complete and total geniuses at marketing and merchandising, and hell, I own a couple Buc-ee's shirts myself. But if you're not 8 years old or a woman, going to Buc-ee's is like stepping into a nightmare. Buc-ee's, for those that don't know, is like Disneyland for fat people. Or no, that's still Disneyland. Okay, Buc-ee's is Disneyland for fat people that can't afford Disneyland. What do they sell? Well, Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's anything and everything. Emphasis on everything. If it were legal to sell heroin, you can bet your sweet tight ass there'd be Buc-ee's brand smack, and it would probably smell like toasted pecans and brown sugar. Buc-ee's is famous for 4 things: being bigger than holy shit, that goofy mascot, their super clean bathrooms, and barbecue. Now, I won't argue with the first 3, but I can say for sure as shit that the barbecue is kinda trash. It's that barbecue that's so coated in sickeningly stupid sweet barbecue sauce that it washes away the quality of the meat, and the cook, if they were any good to begin with. Also, their coffee, despite having like a bazillion varieties, is pretty underwhelming. But my biggest complaint is that they're just too damn popular for their own good. Yes, my biggest problem with Buc-ee's is that too many of you go there. And you're all loud and annoying, and your children are ugly, and going into Buc-ee's is like being trapped in an elevator the size of a Walmart. So if you want Buc-ee's to be number 1, stop going there, is what I'm saying. But that isn't the case with the number 1 best place to stop for gas or shoot up in the bathroom. Number 1, Wawa. Now, first of all, for those of you that don't know what a Wawa is, well, I'm sorry you've had such a horrible life. Maybe hope for pulling a W being reincarnated in your next life. For those of you that do know what a Wawa is, and you think that having them at number 1 is too high, or that they aren't anywhere near as good as they used to be, I want you to do me a favor. Piss off. No, seriously, piss off and go live somewhere that doesn't have a Wawa for a few years. Because I can guarantee you that you will be praying for a Wawa to open up there. You will be praying to have access to a solid coffee bar with a wide selection of coffees that the employees are making fresh regularly, including the Holiday Blend, which is available now, so get some if you haven't. Go live somewhere where the closest thing to a hoagie you can find is from, I don't know, fucking Jimmy John's. And you will pray to have the ones from Wawa that you all go, man, these aren't the Amoroso rolls I grew up with. You'll be fucking praying to be able to grab a breakfast sizzly on your way to work, I promise you. You are a spoiled asshole if you think Wawa isn't the best fucking gas station around. And just like Brenda, I hope you fucking get what you deserve. Wawa is number 1, you're welcome, and if you disagree, I hate you. Yes, you personally. Good night and good luck.